shopping malls, but she herself has decided to pursue her particular interest in the food and beverage segment. So would you please join me in welcoming Shafina Yusuf Ali, CEO of Tables Food Company.
Once upon a time, I walked into a mall. I sat at a table in a restaurant and watched. I watched a couple talk over a table, their eyes skimming over a menu, the twinkle when they find what they want to order, the smile as they do. I watched as they eyed at their dish and their first satisfied sigh at their first mouthful. And I dreamed. I dreamed that restaurant was mine. Good morning. Restaurants, a place to sell food for profit. This may have been the idea centuries ago, but no longer today. Restaurants are integrated into the very DNA of our everyday lives. I reminiscent about the cafes of Paris in the 20s, our very own Parsi coffee houses of Mumbai in the 50s, the tea rooms of London in the 50s and 60s. History has sketched world-changing ideas and planned revolutions in restaurants. Elvis Presley's first Las Vegas contract was written on a restaurant tablecloth. Fact. We have to today recognize that almost all of the major events of our lives revolve around food. A wedding, a baby shower, a 50th birthday, or more, be it professional or personal. Restaurant and cafe industry is larger and more diverse than it has ever been. According to a recent report by KPMG, the UAE F&B market has grown by around 5% in between 2013 and 14. Currently, the F&B market size stands at around $11.7 billion, with nearly 14,200 outlets, and the industry would be closer to $14 billion in 2019. Why? Why are restaurants so important? Why do so many new ones open up every day? What is it that is making the restaurant industry more important than it has ever been? Is it the growing cities that welcome thousands of people every day, who live in smaller apartments, who want a better social life, which by default means better food? Dining out has become more frequent, with people preferring quick fixes than the hassle of groceries, pots, pans, and hobs. The restaurants have become the dining rooms of the young and the busy. Or is it the growing digital age? We live in a time where food is available at the click of a button. Reviews that entice us are available in plenty. A world where reviewers, bloggers have created an industry parallel to the food scene, demanding higher standards, more options, and better food quality. Or is it that food has become a global ambassador with more travel opportunities, friends from different parts of the world, the television, media, magazines? Food has become more global today than it has ever been. People are more willing to try food that is little or very different from their own. They know more, they learn more, and of course, they ask for more. While economics is an integral part of the F&B industry, it is the demand and passion for good food that keeps the soul of the industry alive. Here in the UAE, there is a thriving food culture. The demand for every restaurant of every type of cuisine of restaurant to be different from the other exists. Food outlets can no longer be satisfied with doing a menu, getting a chef, and getting people to serve it. It needs to evolve, and it needs to evolve constantly. The success of a restaurant or cafe is in its inability to be satisfied with what it has currently. As customers evolve, so should restaurateurs. We should not wait for our guests to ask us for something better, but constantly challenge ourselves to get better. A new recipe, a different sequence of service, a seasonal menu, better, better, better. Having a dynamic and loose envelope that is capable of changing while keeping the core strong is what enables restaurants to survive longer. A restaurant needs to advance further into not just cooking and serving, but to create experiences. The food experience is not just about the food, but about the way it is presented. How does it look? What does it smell like? What do the servers tell them about it? How do they smile? And a million other things. Restaurants need to furthermore become a true part of the community to encourage, support, and conduct events their patrons and the community is passionate about. It could be something as simple as a cooking demo to conducting a walk for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The food industry needs to also recognize that our clientele is becoming more aware. They are slowly but surely becoming more informed about the health and environmental aspects of the food that is served to them. Are we starting to use more locally sourced ingredients? Are we avoiding endangered fish? Are we using healthier ingredients? Are we trying to reduce our carbon footprint? Indeed, if the restaurants are not willing to start to move in that direction, their future may be less secure than those who do. The food industry is one of the biggest job providers directly or indirectly, simply because softwares cannot cook or serve. And as such, restaurateurs have a responsibility to the families who depend on us to be socially responsible. As my view on restaurants, a shopping mall today is no longer just a place to buy things from, no longer just a shopping center. The malls, especially the ones in UAE, recognize that it needs to be an experience, a destination, a lifestyle. What should the customers smell when they walk into the mall? In the morning, should it be the smell of freshly baked croissants and a fresh pot of coffee? In the evening, should it be the serene smell of oud being smoldered? It has developed into a place where families spend their time, come together, decorate their homes, feel an emotional connect to, and of course, share a meal. It needs to have attractions, games, a good range of brands and brand products, and it needs to have great cafes and restaurants. We are blessed in this market to be subject to a clientele more ethnically diverse than a handful of cities in the world. Individuals willing to try new things with clear market space for quick service, casual, and fine dining operators. Better quality, competitive prices, newer trends. The world is watching as more and more international brands enter the market, and as such, the industry gets better, the bar is set higher. Mall developers today need to recognize that food units create a big pull for the mall. A good food unit ensures that people visit for dinner or lunch and do a bit of shopping on the way. The brands around it thrive, and the mall becomes more successful. What can mall developers do to ensure that this industry thrives and thrives in the right direction? Locations. Malls, of course, need to recognize that food units are as important as retail units. I may be biased, but sometimes more so. They need to ensure that in their demand for a particular kind of feel, they are not sabotaging the core value, the USP of the restaurant. They need to recognize that there is a good mix of franchise and homegrown concepts. They both give different feels, passions, and experiences. Both are important. They should encourage and entice good food units to set up camp and offer incentives if need be. A motivated operator will be encouraged, and more entrepreneurs will take note and enter the segment with better and more exciting concepts. To finish off, I think I have to admit that, of course, malls are as important food units as they are vice versa, in some cases more so. Malls ensure restaurants are a captive audience. It helps guests bear the weather, especially in this part of the world. It adds on to the experiences that the restaurants should anyway be creating. They are able to give each other support in increasing footfall, marketing activities, new learnings, and much more. The world of food is out there, ready to be discovered, conceptualized, and bring tantalizing dishes to our malls and eventually to our tables. I hope you are as excited as me to be on this journey in this era of learning. One cannot think well, love well, sleep well if one has not dined well. Thank you. You have been a wonderful audience.
Thank you, Shafina. That harmony in that landlord-tenant relationship, which we need with food outlets and with shopping malls, is actually a theme that's been something that's been recurring over the last couple of days. And for those of you who were in the earlier session, there was a fair amount of mall bashing that was going on with what your tenants, with what retailers expect from their mall partners, what they'd like to see happen, and of course what they'd like to be able to do in there. So it's fitting that we're going to be closing Middle East Retail Forum this year with the shopping mall conclave and talking about the mall of the future. So once again, I'm going to walk around, get you guys to introduce yourselves. You realize this is really a trick. It just means that I haven't bothered to learn any of your names, which is why I'm making you all do the hard work yourselves.
Well, it's a pleasure. My name is Mohammed Galal. I'm from Egypt. I run my own operation of mall management and mall development, Tasweeq shopping malls. We've been in the market in Egypt since 2009, and we consider ourselves to be one of the leading organizations with more than 350,000 square meters of retail space that we're managing across the country. We got quite lucky almost a year ago, and we have pioneered in developing shopping centers in the secondary cities of Egypt. So we're no longer operating in Cairo and Alexandria, which are the major cities where everyone is, but we're getting into the new principal cities around the country. And we are so lucky because we do not have to impress our customers much. So we do not have to come up with flying shopping centers. We can just build shopping centers on ground with limited commercial offer, hypermarkets, supermarkets, and some retail shops, and a small food court. It's an honor to be here around you guys, and hopefully it's going to be quite an interesting session today. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mazen Gandil from Saudi Arabia. I'm the head of leasing in Hamad Property Company. We are a property management company managing 1 million square meter in the kingdom between current project and in the pipeline. We are part of Asala Holding Group, and our newest mall is Riyadh Park. We are covering 10 different cities and villages in the kingdom.
Good afternoon. My name is Luay Mursel. I'm from Italy brand. I'm here to represent our brand Italy. Italy, just a small brief for those who doesn't know about Italy. Actually, Italy, it's a franchise from Torino, the city, where it was founded in year 2007 by Mr. Oscar Farinetti. And we had the opportunity to open Italy in Dubai in year 2013. And we are looking forward within 3 to 4 months to open the second outlet in Dubai Festival City. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karen Staley, and I am the Senior Vice President for IAAPA EMEA. We are based in Brussels. IAAPA is IAAPA. It is the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions. So I want to thank all of you who have come after lunch to listen to this conclave. I really appreciate it. We produce a lot of conferences, and the one after lunch is usually the one where most people are a little bit more tired. We are the largest association of its kind, and I'm very, very excited to hear my colleague on stage mention that food and beverage has to include attractions. It is true. We are the Association of Experiences, and we drive destination builders. We bring attractions into all sorts of type of experiences for our guests. And as we talk about shopping malls, we are using in our industry a new concept called multi-entertainment centers. In other words, we're not just here for shopping, we're here to be entertained, and we're here to socialize with one another. And how does the attractions industry fit into that? We believe that we are the drivers of this concept. We believe that we have some of the most creative people in the world working as members of ours, developing attractions within all types of facilities, including shopping malls, so that guests have a reason to stay, they stay longer, and hopefully all of your retail shops benefit greatly from that along with your food and beverage. We are a global organization, I mentioned, and we also produce a magazine which talks a lot about all the different aspects of entertainment and attractions. So if you're interested, let me know, and I'll be happy to ensure that you get a copy. But we touch on everything from attractions products to entertainment to human resource to guest experience. And I'm excited to be here because I think that this industry is one of the leading industries, particularly here in Dubai, with developing multi-entertainment attraction facility versus a shopping mall. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Amitabh. I head the Images Group. I was also the India Director for Country Head for ICSC India for 5 years. I am the founder of the Shopping Center Association of India. In the last 15 years, I have worked very closely with almost every shopping center developer in India, almost 300 shopping centers which have developed in the last 15 years. And I have some experiences to share about shopping centers because, as you know, India started late in terms of development of shopping centers, but moved very fast, and some of the best shopping centers are now going to be built in India. Although nothing close to what Dubai builds, but still some great shopping centers are coming up in India, and I'd love to share my experiences.
Good afternoon. I'm Prakash Vivekanand. I'm the Managing Director of Amusement Service International, ASI. Well, we are in different spheres. We focus on the amusement and leisure business, but more importantly within large format retail facilities and mixed use gatherings. There are many aspects that our company does. We design such facilities, we equip such facilities, we also help our customers manage such facilities effectively. I've been in Dubai since 1993. I've seen the entire development of this region, not just the UAE. We've also seen this develop in other parts of the GCC. And it's been a brilliant learning experience on how we engage our customers continually and how much entertainment, food, other forms of leisure play such a big role in ensuring that we improve dwell times to the retail businesses and how the two sort of sit together and what's the synergy that exists between those things. Hopefully I'll be sharing that with you all today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Shavak Srivastav. I have lived in Dubai for as long as Prakash has, for over 22 years. And the normal reaction I get to that is, oh, so you've seen all the changes. Yes, I've seen many of them, and it's really been a fabulous experience being here all these years. In my current role, I'm a consultant. I work with shopping centers and retail businesses. But technically, I'm a consultant, but I actually work very closely with a couple of groups whom I've worked with a very long time, particularly one in Kuwait, where we've done 3 projects, and we are in the process of doing 4 more mixed-use projects, which all have a large retail component, and therefore I'm really heavily involved in the shopping center part of the business. I also do some work on the other side of the business on retail, if nothing else, to get a better understanding of how that works. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Furkan Athar. Like a lot of people over here, I've been more than 25 years over here as well, but I was born and brought up by Dubai and then by Majid Futem, which was one of my first employees, and I've been lucky enough to start from 1998 from where City Center started operating, and then I grew along professionally and personally along with the mall industry over here. And about 6-7 years ago, we set up our own consulting firm, a shopping center advisory firm called Mikata. And now we've been lucky that we are appointed by people from Azerbaijan all the way to Zambia who come to us, look outside my window and say, look at Mall of the Emirates, and they say, I want one of those. Sometimes we get lucky, we build them something even better, like Mall of Qatar, which is a $1.5 billion, 2 million square feet mall. Sometimes we tell them, no, you just need a shopping center with parking, a hypermarket, and then pray that no one bombs it. So you get all kinds, and we've been lucky enough to be able to take a lot of developers who've never done it before and take them across the real estate development life cycle, which includes all the basic elements. Sometimes people ask us simple things like, tell us what do you think is more important, parking or the mall or the retailer or the design or whatever. I tell them, when you wake up in the morning, you don't say whether I should wear a shirt or a trouser or a tie or a suit. You got to get all in, and it's all got to be in line. So teaching people about the real estate is basically what we do.
So they all listen to you and then they say, yeah, parking, right?
Hi, good evening. My name is Fouad Sharaf. I work with Majid Al Fatim Property Management, the developer and the operator of the City Center brand and Mall of the Emirates, whatever he mentioned just now. We have actually other companies. We have Carrefour as a hypermarket. We have Cinemas, Vox. We have Magic Planet, other projects. But I'm like, my focus is like the property management, which is like the shopping malls.
Perfect.
Thanks.
So with a panel like this, it's hard to know where to start. But let me start with the grouse that we heard this morning. Shopping center owners, mall developers, mall managers in this region do not understand the retailer, do not understand the retailer's needs. It is a seller's market over here as far as malls are concerned. And if you want to be in Dubai Mall, if you want to be in Mall of the Emirates, shut up and take what's given to you. Is that just retailers griping? Because we all know retailers gripe, right? I mean, no shopping mall owner would actually do something like that. Or is there a legitimate beef?
I'm so lucky that I'm not in Dubai or UAE, so we're not in this market yet. So, but still, yes, I do agree with that statement. It is not a shopping center's landlord market now. We are in the retailers, in Egypt at least, we are still on serving the retailer, and we're not yet servicing totally the landlord shopping center developers requirements. It all depends on retail maturity in the market where you are. And in a country like Egypt, where retail is not, or shopping centers development is not yet a very mature market, and the retail penetration of brands is not also very wide. So the retailers are still the new babies in town. Whenever there is a new retailer in town, this is really everything. All his dreams and hopes and wishes are delivered by the landlord of the shopping center. So this is when it comes to us, Egypt yet.
Anish, I don't think that's a topic to be discussed because it's actually about, there are 20 shopping centers and the 3 shopping centers which are very successful. Obviously, they are going to get retailers who they want, the kind of revenue they expect from those retailers. Every retailer who wants to enter Dubai would want to enter those 2 shopping centers. So I think it's a situation of maturity, and these shopping centers are doing well. Everybody wants to be there. The reason why these shopping centers are doing well is because something right has been done, and lots right has been done. And I would say if they were not doing it right, nobody would want to be there. So I don't see that's a real issue. I would say the real issue today facing the shopping center industry is this. I used to say this, the consumer is changing. And I now say he's not changing, he has changed. Are we ready for this new consumer, this socially very well matured consumer? Are the shopping centers and retailers together? I would say they are partners, and they together build shopping experiences, build consumption. Are we ready for this new consumer? I don't know how many people were there yesterday who attended a session which was about technology. There was this young guy, 29 years old, who has started an online portal. Everybody spoke. He didn't speak. In the last 5 minutes, he spoke. And he said something which was really interesting. And he said this to all the retailers and shopping center developers, that if you guys don't change in the next 5 years, we will take all your consumers, which is the online guys. And what did he say? He said this connected consumer today, if he goes to an electronics store and if he wants to buy a television, and he exactly gave this example, and if he sees 70 television screens in the shop, the salesman does not know anything. He said the consumer knows more than your salesman. So he will first go to a Google. The Google guy was also sitting. He said, we know that 90% of evolved shoppers first go to Google, search for what they want to buy, and then go to a shopping center. Now, if he actually searches for that television online, he will actually know more than the salesman. Obviously, when he goes to the shop, he'll know more than that salesman. If he does not buy that television at the store, he will come back and then decide, because it's an expensive item, so he will go back, again go online, and I promise you, we will take that consumer away from the retailer. That's the situation we are in. And I seriously believe this discussion should be about this evolved consumer, the malls of the future, the click and collect. Are we doing something about that? Are we doing something about free Wi-Fi? Are we creating, there are some malls in the world who are actually now putting all their stores online. You can swipe through, you can choose what's inside the mall. I think we should discuss more about that.
Why don't we start with that? The other side to it, which came up again in the session right before lunch, was about entertainment, what you bring into the mall to attract the customer.
Sure. So I think that's also related, actually related, because today the consumer is actually going to the shopping centers, because I believe shopping centers are not shopping spaces, they are social spaces. If we do not build the right social spaces for this connected consumer, we are not going to be there. So I think these are two connected subjects, which is what I would say, if we could.
Shava, can we start with you?
I think actually, at least, and I can only talk about the Gulf really, because I'm not, I can talk a little bit about India, but I don't know that much. But here I can say that there have been social spaces for a long time. And I also, while I don't disagree with what Amitabh said about the online business, I do believe that the situation in the Gulf, and I'm using the words carefully, I'm not even saying Middle East, I'm not competent to comment on that, but in the Gulf, I think the situation is quite different. The way shopping is done and the way people interact with each other is really quite different, possibly from a lot of other markets, which may include India. Also, by and large, the infrastructure is good. It doesn't take you too long to get to a mall. You have great parking, you have great facilities, and that social interaction, in the absence of a lot of other kinds of social interactions which don't exist, and particularly I'm saying if you take the Dubai out of the picture, you will see that those entertainment opportunities, be it clubs, nightclubs, whatever, don't exist. In Saudi Arabia, not at all. In other places, to a lesser extent. Therefore, this business of shopping and shopping centers in the Gulf will continue to remain prime, in my opinion. That doesn't mean that shopping centers don't have to add value to what their customers are getting, be it F&B, be it entertainment, and a host of other things. But I don't believe that while the online business will continue to grow, and it will continue to grow at a faster rate than the offline business, I think here, even that performance will be best by those people who are in both the businesses, that is both online and offline, and yet the shopping centers will continue to be prime. I may be totally wrong, but that is my view.
What's your take on that?
Actually, no one can deny that the online shopping have been a concern to the shopping mall business, like since it has been launched. But from our side, like as Majid Al Futtaim, we've been evolving, expanding, coming up with new ideas, trying to create a different, it's about experience. The lady who walked actually and gave like the speech a few minutes back, she mentioned the word experience. So it's not about like having few stores or getting the right tenants, but it's about the whole experience. By the time you think of visiting any shopping mall, what would be the plan? Why would you like select that shopping mall? What is the purpose? So it's a combination about few things. Even Furqan also gave a good example about like wearing a tie without a jacket, or so it's a full experience. When you talk about shopping mall, you talk about parking, you talk about tenant mix, you talk about the ambience, you talk about design. Many elements like affects that experience. So for you to select the mall, all these elements you have to like make sure that you are like.
I don't think we are denying that all these elements are important. I'm just saying this evolved consumer who's changed so fast, and in the next 5 years you will see a much smarter, digitally connected consumer. So are we doing something for that? So yes,
Definitely.
parking is important.
Sure.
Experience is important.
The parking is part of it because recently the parking became smart parking, so you can find your parking in a smarter way. Yes, in regards to the other services, we do have the Wi-Fi service in all our mall. Like we made sure that we have that service provided. It's given nowadays. No one will come to a mall if you don't have that service. More than that, actually, other things, creativity and like coming up with new ideas. Like, let me give you an idea. Recently we created the Vox Cinemas for kids. That's an attraction point. Ski Dubai have been there for the last 10 years, but we're still evolving, coming up with new ideas within Ski Dubai. So we are like working hard in maintaining and increasing the number of the customers. If I'll talk about Mall of the Emirates, like specifically, we've seen a growth since we opened the mall. In 2006, we received around 23 million. Last year, we received 40 million. That gives you an indication that there is a potential from customers to come and visit malls. The internet and the Wi-Fi have been there a long time back. The online shopping have been there. So, as he also mentioned that this market is like still like hungry for more brands. Like the representation of the international brands in Dubai is only 56%. So we're missing around 44%, which is coming to the market, and people are desperate to see these brands.
So is the mix changing? Do you see the mix evolving more towards food and entertainment? And we'll come to entertainment maybe after that, because that's where we want to lead to.
And if you're asking me, actually, yes, it is changing, but the platform always will remain for the right tenant mix. As I mentioned to you, especially in this part of the world, we do have some tenants which are missing, and people are like desperate to see them. Like recently, when we opened the extension of Mall of the Emirates, we've opened Lululemon, we've opened All Saints, soon Abercrombie and Fitch is coming, and this have been like the talk of people like recently. Hollister opened. There are new brands, even restaurants. It's a different experience, so you should have the right tenant mix.
Just to add to what Mr. Sharaf said, I mean, he raised a very nice point about the evolution. I mean, with the smart customer that we're talking about, they're always well informed and they know what they're getting. I mean, there are many times when I've been to, let's say without taking names, in a couple of the electronic giant stores here, and you're so right in saying that people have done all their comparisons. And there's somebody I met recently who's developing an app where once you're on that app, you can go into an electronic store and actually see what are the offers for, let's say, a given mobile phone between all the outlets in the UAE, and you can actually compare and find out who has a cheaper option. Say if I go to a Mall of the Emirates, I probably have about 10 of those retailers already there, and probably Carrefour has the best offer. So you could still walk up and do that. But the important part is actually the evolution itself that he raised. You know, the changing face of Vox Cinemas. I mean, that is just something brilliant. I mean, There's so many parents out here who wanted to take their children on the given birthday party for a movie date. Now suddenly the cinema has evolved for you to cater specifically to children's birthday parties. There's one more concept that we're working on actually, where we wanted to change a cinema theater into a living room. So it's just not for birthday parties, but you could have a small sort of gathering of friends and other things. You go together to watch a movie. You didn't have seats, but you had bean bags, and you had a complete catering taken care of down there. So it is much more than just talking smart. I know that online is going to change a lot of things and whatnot. The online is going to give information. So yes, we heard yesterday about the Amazon Fresh, and it's okay to order grocery and everything else through that, maybe even electronic stuff through online and everything else. But then there's so much more that you're only going to get there.
That's what I'm coming to.
By that engagement.
If that electronic store, you know what's happening to Best Buy, what happened to other electronic stores. So if that's going to evolve and more people are going to buy online, especially products like you see what happened to bookstores. There are going to be categories which are going to evolve on the online side, which means the shopping centers are going to evolve in terms of mix, which is where the whole idea was. The idea is entertainment, dining, food service, experiential retail is going to grow.
Sorry, just before we come to that, I think it's also not just about it. The smarter consumer is shopping smarter even at a store.
Correct.
He gets served through digitally. He gets served through an iPad. His buying habit is already known to that retail store when he arrives there.
True.
That is what the smarter consumer is looking for, not necessarily buying online. As I said earlier, people like the social experience, particularly in the Gulf, and I'm confining myself to that. But they're wanting to be better treated. You're still marketing, so if you know that your brand is Banana Republic, they know what you bought. They know what trousers and what chinos you look for. I think that's how you're approaching the smarter consumer. In the malls, we've just piloting a technology in one of our malls in Kuwait, where once you enter with a phone, not even a smartphone, any chip, you know exactly where that chip, and it's not privacy and not a privacy issue because I don't know it's Furqan or it's Fuad. I just know that this chip comes once every week and goes through in this way, and therefore I can aggregate it, and I know exactly what the consumers are doing. The guys who, stupid example, they shop at Bottega also go to the food court, for example. That's what I need to know. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's about online and offline. In the offline situation, I know how my consumer wants to be treated, I know what he or she does, and how to cater to them.
Now, Shavak, you're absolutely right. It's not about whether the retailer can combat the online space or not. That's the retailer's problem. That's not your problem. Your problem is if he shuts down, as Amitabh said, if there is no longer a Best Buy, if there is no longer a W.H. Smith or Books, etc., what happens to your properties? How do you still get people in there? Is it a technology game? Is it an entertainment game? Is it creating a new category of tenant that comes in?
Just a quick one on that. One of the largest retailers in the business is Macy's, who, if I remember the numbers correctly, do some $25 billion or $26 billion on their bricks and mortar business, and another $6 billion in the online. And the Macy's chairman, I remember him saying that there are people who would only come and try stuff in the store and then only buy it online, and there are people who only check everything online but never buy online.
So I had the privilege.
That's the.
So we were at a very good subject. I had the privilege of inviting Bonnie Brooks. She is the CEO and president of Bayshore Company. Bayshore owns Macy's now, and I had time 2 days with her, and we spent 2 days. And the reason why Bayshore bought Macy's, the biggest thing which she said on stage is the reason we bought Macy's is because Macy's was digitally transforming itself. And they had become a very strong digital retailer, and that's why we wanted to really acquire them. And I'm not disputing the fact that what you're saying, Shavak. I'm just saying, will there be new categories? Is Mall of Emirates also thinking that there'll be some retailers in the next 5 years, or all shopping centers should be thinking, there'll be some retailers which will shrink in size? They will. I'm sure. If you ask some of the American shopping centers, they will tell you that a lot of retailers are coming and saying, "Can we reduce our size?" They are.
I think one of the things which was missing in all this discussion is that more people come to the mall for an experiential element, and sometimes they do other things just because they happen to be there. So there are businesses which will suffer because the online is an easy way to get it done. Money exchange, banks, travel agencies, and things like that. But if you have to go to a salon, can an online ever replace a salon?
100%.
It cannot, right?
That's why I'm saying. So would we have more salons? Would we have more?
What malls?
That's all I'm saying.
So what malls look at is that the way a mall science works is that they look at categories and they look at sales per square foot results of those categories. And what they do is they follow the pattern. So for example, I remember when Mall of the Emirates opened, the watches were doing amazing. And remember over here, a lot of the shops are mono-brand shops. Even CK has an underwear shop. But most of the watches shop at that time were all multi-brand, watches gallery, things like that. And the watches category did amazing numbers. So we said, let's break them up into mono-brand stores and see what happens. You go to Siddiqui and Son and say, we want you to open 6 shops. He said, are you serious? Yes. And they open up and it's been successful. So suddenly we found out that the watch is not an accessory anymore. It's actually a fashion item. Everybody wants to buy a dozen or so. So you find out from time where the customer is evolving as well. Now people cannot compare an Italy experience to any QSR experience, right? So people might go to talabat.com and say, look, this is easier for me to order food to my office instead of going to the mall and eating over there. So obviously, both will coexist. It'll never be either or. Because as a person, I do not want to do everything that I did yesterday. I don't care if it's efficient or not. I want change. And that's why the customer is evolving, because he wants change.
You know, if I could,
Sorry,
yes.
just a point. Just like the social media, I mean, again, everybody creates a Facebook page and a Twitter page and everything else. But again, that brings people in, you get your likes and everything else, but then to keep them there and constantly keep liking you, you need to engage them appropriately. And that's the same. The experience and the retail mix and everything else, bring your people in, but then the whole engagement of how you're going to do that is massive in terms of what it is. Like a lot of the electronic stores, I know a lot of people that I speak to who miss the Genius Bar. I mean, thankfully, they're opening tomorrow, I think. So the Genius Bar of Apple is a big thing, and somebody else raised about the knowledge of the salesman and everything else, which is something that Apple have really looked at. And that's a way of engagement to bring people back to the store. Italy does a beautiful job in terms of that engagement and everything else, in terms of bringing it. I think it's just not just that tenant mix and everything. We are all going to get our brands, as Amitabh correctly said, but a lot more focus on how we're going to engage our retail tenants and engage our consumer and keep them there and keep bringing them back over and over again. The engagement is going to define that a lot more.
You know, Shavak brought up a very important point in the first thing he said. We're not just here talking about Dubai. Dubai is a very different market from the rest of the region. How does Hamad deal with this in Saudi Arabia?
It's a different case. We really have limited supply of quality GLA. And we have a lot of brands looking for quality GLA to get in Saudi Arabia. And we have a remarkable percentage of youth population. So with all these factors that makes us as a mall developer and property management in a little bit having the upper hand. But having said that, definitely we need to work with the tenant. At the end of the day, tenants, it's our clients. The shopping mall perception, as you said, it's at the end of the day, it's experience and ambience. But really, in Saudi Arabia, it's maybe the only entertainment place that family goes. There is very limited other options like theme parks. There is no cinemas. There is no clubs or bars or all those stuff. So food, entertainment, and mall itself is really a destination for a daily place for families. And in Riyadh Park, for example, we are trying to understand that, and out of the 92,000 square meter of GLA, we are putting 18,000 square meter entertainment, and we are putting around 11,000 square meter of F&B cafes and dining. That's around 35% of the mall will be only dedicated for this. On the top of that, the design and the ambience and the finishings and the parking, all the fundamental elements. There is a lot of another obstacles inside the malls, like musics, not allowed in many places. The frontage and the facade of the brands showing like lingerie brands, for example, they have a limited launching their campaigns in the way that they do in Dubai and other cities. But at the end of the day, we have a remarkable youth of population that well-known, well-educated, smarter, and looking for new brands to come in, and then it's our part to accommodate those brands and having the right place and right location in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, actually, I want to talk about the point that Mr. Prakash been highlighted. When my company, Azadea, decided to get a new F&B concept in the town, they were looking for something different, for something where people, they can really get an experience. Because people nowadays, they are not just looking to have a good food in good ambience. People are really looking to have experience. They want to be entertained. That's why in Italy, the concept where you can find the sections are opened front of you, so the kitchen, you can walk through the shop, you can see the chef, how they are preparing their food, how they are preparing their recipes. So we don't have anything like hidden or secrets. We are educating people actually about it. Plus, we are having on monthly basis such activities. We bring suppliers or producers from Italy itself to talk about a specific region and to highlight about the products, where it comes from. And we do as well present the menu of this region. Also, we have many activities, like we have Pizzaiolo acrobatic show. We do it in our store from time to time. We do a live cooking show as today as well, and tomorrow for the coming 3 days, we have a live cooking show by Michelin star chef. They are coming to cook very fancy food and to present it for our customer. So really, when guests are coming to Italy, are like spending minimum 2 to 3 hours without feeling boring at all. So this is what the guests are looking right now in the market.
Just to add to your point. So when you do all of these pizza acrobatics and everything else, so you're obviously engaging your customer a lot more, so you're keeping them in there. Your prime, I think, I love your restaurant, you know, I must say that. So, but I think your prime aspect is that you are a restaurant,
yes,
right?
Yes.
But does this engagement actually translate as retail sales for you? Because you've got so much retail happening around there. So how does engagement drives retail?
Yep,
So
yep.
can you elaborate?
Actually, Italy is not just a restaurant. Italy, it's a hub of Italian delicacies. So you can eat, shop, and learn. So you can have a dining, and then you can do the shopping from the high quality of Italian products, virgin olive oil, aged balsamic pasta, sauces, and also learn about the classes that we also used to do it during the month or month to month. We do classes. We do invite our consumers for these free classes, okay, so they can also come and sit with our guests. So once you educate people and to teach them about how do they prepare the food and the quality of the food that they are using, for sure, definitely after they finish the session, they will go around the grocery or the market that we have, and they will do the shopping from these items.
Karen, what's your take on Amitabh's point that at some point in time we're going to see a change in mix? Is the future a ski Dubai in every mall in the region? How do we keep them engaged? How do we keep them entertained? How do we keep them amused?
My point is like Italy, experiential food service. Experiential food service. What Prakash said, experience is going to grow because somewhere you could buy the television online. So experiential retail is going to become more and more important as we move on.
Absolutely. I think that no one has mentioned it, but we have the Generation X and we have the Generation Y, and then of course I belong into the baby boomer generation. And they are looking for more than just shopping. They are looking for a complete social experience in a hub. If you look at the United States, for example, the malls are very challenged. There was a time where the American consumer moved outside of the city and lived and drove just to purchase what they needed and then came home. But now we see a whole demographic change with these new generations moving in, developing smaller social areas, communities, living in smaller homes, and wanting an experience. And that's where our association comes in. We are the experts on experience. If you look at one of our largest members, Disney, they're super successful, but they never stop engaging their customer. So in the last few years, you have watched Disney's retail shops become an engagement experience for the children. They can watch the movies they want to buy. They can experience some of the attractions that Disney offers within some of their theme parks, just to create a longer staying time and a greater experience, which translates into greater revenue. And if you look at some of our parks today, Universal and Disney both have downtown city walks. They want to keep the customer longer. They want to engage the customer in a variety of ways. And if you look at some of their restaurants and F&B offerings, they're all experiences. They either have shows or they have entertainment of some sort, or they engage the customer in some way to keep them there longer, make them a bigger part of the experience, and thereby more successful. So I think that that is the movement. I think that it's more than just what retailer do I have. If you look at retailers today, for example, in the United States, there are several that are becoming more of an engagement kind of retailer. Cabela's, which is a famous hunting and fishing group. You can shoot a gun in their facility. You can climb a wall. You can learn how to defeather a pheasant. It's an engagement experience, and I can guarantee you that their retail experience and their revenue and their turnover is improving because of that. We also have it with various other facilities. But I think overall, people are looking to do more with their gathering place. And so when I see the evolution of what I call a multi-entertainment center, I see banks, I see grocery stores. If you look, unfortunately, U.S. doesn't have some of the most successful shopping facilities. It's in Asia right now. Dubai Mall here is one of them. Edmonton Mall in Canada with an indoor swimming facility. There are malls that have opera houses in them, theaters in them, and I don't mean movie theaters, I mean actual theaters for plays. It is a hub for experience, and if we look at it that way and look at the people as our guests and not our consumers, I think that we'll see huge success in these gathering facilities.
I have a thought for Shawak and Furkan and maybe Fuad. Just a thought. When Amazon goes to a vendor, like a brand, he says, I'll list you on my portal, but I need all this information. Now, as you go, as shopping centers, and I'm thinking like a shopping center guy, and I'm saying, if you go back 10 years, how shopping centers used to operate, they used to say, this is the space, this is the rent, please carry on, just do your business. So as we evolved, as more competition came in, we said, no, we want you to do better show windows, this is how you'll operate, we'll work with you, we'll take 10% of your sales. So we started getting more involved. We started becoming almost like a department store where we wanted every piece to work right for us as a developer. Now, as we move further with this evolved consumer, would we go a step further and say, what do you have in your stores? What's the information you have on these products? Can we list it out? Can we jointly create an information portal which is about what all is in all our stores and what are these products? And would we go that way? Just a thought, just an open thought. Would it help?
So you're looking at a super directory of what's in there. It's not just a listing of the stores, it's what's in the stores as well.
What's in stores? I'm saying, will developers have to get closer to the retailer or get more information? Because if we want consumers to have a better experience, we would want...
I believe that shopping malls are already doing that, and I'm talking on behalf of everybody, in terms of getting the information, better information from retailers before they sign them on. I think a far more due diligence is done than ever earlier on. No,
Not
I'm
as a
coming to your
brand or
point.
as a retailer.
I'm coming to your point. So that bit is being done, but I don't think it's going beyond that, because Amitabh, we must also appreciate, and maybe I'm just older, so I don't know, but I think there's an overload of information that we are constantly dealing with. How much information do you get on these things every minute that you are looking at them? Things which you need, don't need, all kinds of stuff. So I think there is only that much information that somebody can deal with. And I think more information is definitely being provided by the retail brands. And we were talking about electronics earlier. Today, if you walk into a good electronics store, I'm not taking names, there's a lot more information than is available than used to be there 3 years ago or 5 years ago to the customer. And a lot better people who are educated to tell them, what is going on. So I'm just a bit concerned about, so it may happen, I'm not sure. I'm just saying I'm just a bit concerned about just having overloads of information available online, which I'm not sure is necessarily something I always read up on before I arrive there to the mall. But again,
Actually,
my
sorry.
view.
So I think there are two aspects to this. One is obviously how does a mall want to be involved with the retailers. So if you go to Simon Properties or General Growth, you'll see they have a lot of links to the websites of the retailers, and they do a lot of interactive events. But to the point of where you're talking about, where does coordination and information turn into interference? Right? I'm a retailer myself. I've got a few brands, and obviously there's an element after which it's the developer's opinion, not his expertise, which basically is playing a part. And with 450 retailers in the mall and all of them constantly changing, the second part you've got to realize it, do you want to be involved with his failure? Because he might fail. If he fails, was it because of the direction that you gave? You don't want to be a part of that. So ultimately the customer is deciding who they want to be a part of, who do they want to be loyal to, and who do they not. So let that free market play its own role, and you are just the provider of the housing. And that's a shopping center's role, basically.
Actually, if I reply in one sentence, it's not our business. Our business is building malls, building the right malls, bringing the right brands. But what is selling inside the shops is not our, and we will never be that experience.
I deliberately asked this
no
question
matter how
because
much you give me information, I don't know what it is, and I will never knowing what it is, and I don't care. As long as you're doing good sales, you're bringing the right footfall to me, that's enough.
Let me comment on something. Maybe I'm like some of us around this table. It all depends where you are, on which side you are. Let's talk a little bit about my experience as a consultant, and my job is basically consult shopping center owners to make their shopping centers more successful, or basically to come in at first stages, early stages, and try to develop successful shopping centers. First of all, I think the name shopping centers it's like dinosaurs, it's finished, it's not that. It's a life experience. The shopping center, the building itself, the project itself, because it's not a shopping center anymore, it's a complete life experience. This is what the customer wants today. It's exactly like staying at home, at his living room, watching TV, but you're taking him physically into a building, and that building becomes a life experience for him, different from his daily routine life. This is not going to the office, this is not going to the doctor, this is not his kids going to school, or as a customer, I'm a student, so it's school. So a shopping center or the project is a complete life experience for me. I need to feel and touch and experience something different. Entertainment, fashion, food, interest. The whole issue now is very complicated. Why? Because customers are becoming very complicated, very complex, and very knowledgeable. Education-wise, information-wise, internet, Google. There is no simple customer anymore. There is no simple human being anymore. It's not a matter of being rich or poor or medium. When it comes to information, everyone is so knowledgeable about everything. First conflict or first problem, interface with the shopping center. As a customer, I interface with my cleaning or the cleaning person in the shopping center, with my security person in the shopping center, the salesman in the shop where I'm going. And really, I think the success of that equation will be to make those interface more sophisticated. The salesman in the shop has to be to the level of the customer. experience, Hollister, Abercrombie and Fitch. Why is it so successful concepts? Because when the customer walks in, he relates or she relates immediately with the salesperson in that store, and they want to be like him. The salesperson is wearing the brand Hollister or Abercrombie and Fitch. H&M did this a few years ago. Zara was doing this from the beginning. And that's why you basically, it's so simple. The turnover of Zara, H&M, Hollister, Abercrombie and Fitch are so high because immediately you have like a live presentation of the products, and also the persons or the salespeople there are basically relating to them. I want to look like him. I want to be as fit as him. I want to wear that T-shirt like that guy. I relate to him.
When you walk into their stores, you're walking to an experience.
Absolutely.
It's not four walls with white, with some chrome hanging. You're walking into a lifestyle, an experience, an attraction, and that's what drives the purchasing.
Absolutely.
And then they want to be in that lifestyle,
Yeah.
and that's what entertainment and attractions are all about.
And
is
you guys-
creating an experience that it's immersive from guest experience to actual attraction experience.
Yes.
And that will make the difference
And
on
in
keeping
terms
a
of
customer.
entertainment, I'm sure you guys can confirm this. We're back again to the action, to the motion. Before it was, everybody was playing PlayStation, phones, and video games. And now the kids and the teenagers, they want action again. They want to, it's like, fly me up, drown me in, do anything to me. Take me as a body and move me. So again, it's the experience, life experience. We've been involved so much with mall owners. They have sick malls. Always when you talk about shopping centers, Majd Al Futtaim, mashallah, malls are very successful. Others, same. The problem is not with the successful malls. The problem is with the sick malls. And there are so many sick malls around where a lot of money has been invested. So comes companies like us, where basically we have to make that sick mall into a healthy shopping center again. And the first thing we have to do is the perception of the community of that shopping center. We don't look at which shops are inside. We don't look how retailers are performing. It will come at a later stage. But my initial problem is this bottle, how is it perceived by everyone who can use this bottle, who are close to that bottle? So perception, converting the shopping center, the building, the project into, again, an experience that the customers want to experience. So should I make my shopping center pink color? Should I change my customer service staff into veiled women? Because this is what the community wants. It's basically, again, first thing, color my shopping center or color my project to make it perceived in a positive way by the customers. So again, this is an experience, or this is something that no way computers or Google or online portals can provide. They can only provide products. And products.
So what I meant was there are a lot of products which can be provided online, and it's going to evolve, and those categories will shrink.
Absolutely.
That's all I meant.
Absolutely.
But Mohammed, you brought up the right thing, creating that community. It's not just about having someone walk into the mall and have an app or a dashboard at your end that says he or she walked in from this entrance, parked on the second level, walked through, and went through these 3 corridors and then went back out again. That's not understanding your consumer. That's not understanding your customer. That's just knowing what your customer did once they actually came in there. We're talking about the mall of the future. How do we now take that next step in understanding our customer, not the retailer's customer? Let him worry about that. Absolutely right. It's not our problem. That's his problem. They don't walk into his shop, that's his problem. But they're not walking into my mall.
So finally, it's also a problem for the shopping center. If that shop is not attracting enough customer, we want the shopping
Correct.
center won't want him there.
Yeah. So what am I doing to get my customer in? And my customer has to be fungible as far as the retailer is concerned. Has to be transparent to the retailer. My customer is my customer. Do I need what Karen can give me? Do I need more food courts? What is that future customer for the mall of the future? Look, dead silence. No one's thought about it. We can all go home now.
No, let me just launch it and then somebody can just take it there. I think basically we have to focus again on who has the money to spend in the shopping center and try to please that person more. And really, that person is our sons and daughters. They're not us anymore. I think the starting point should be the age from 9 to 18, or maybe, yeah. And we should all try to please the 9 to 18, and from there, start. I don't know, I'm just throwing this, and you just kill it or continue on it, I don't know.
I mean, before I say anything, I'd actually like some comments from Mr. Fuad on this. I mean, Majid Al-Futtaim are the leaders in this business, and they've been very futuristic. I somehow always felt that in-your-face retail is gone. Retail these days is a byproduct of an experience. So you need to create that experience and then do it. And you have a classic example in a chain that's just come into the Middle East, Lululemon, where they do have a retail store, but one of their prime driving channels is actually engaging with all the fitness sort of professionals in the entire community. It's really community-based marketing, and they empower these people to promote the product and everything else. I'm sure Mr. Fuad will have a lot to say about what their thinking is. So.
You know, if I can just add to what you said about that 9 to 18-year-old, it's absolutely right. And the reason when I come into Dubai now, I stay at an Al Futtaim hotel, and I shop in an Al Futtaim shopping center, is because my son at 15 wanted to go freaking skiing. So we came and we stay at the Kempinski and we shop at Mall of the Emirates because 6 years ago he wanted to go skiing. That's the draw.
Do they offer you a discount? Basically, it's about the experience and the customer service. And these are the people who will survive in the shopping mall business the way forward. I think our vision reflects what we're talking about. Our vision is creating great moments for everyone, every day. So that's the vision of the company. And that takes you down to the customer service level. So I think maybe many retailers will exist in many shopping malls, and some retailers will be different because of the platform. Like I'll mention again, like few retailers who entered to our shopping malls because we've created the right platform for them. But still, many retailers are like common, and many malls, the service, the unique part of the projects. So you're talking about the Ski Dubai. Ski Dubai have been there for the last 10 years, and still the project is unique. I just want to share this small story, actually. The Ski Dubai was like one of Mr. Majid Al-Futtaim's dream to bring that project into reality in the Middle East. So he'd been seeing that ski slope in Japan for a few years, and his dream was really to bring that project into reality in the Middle East. And some people thought that, what this guy is saying. So I think the dream had been converted into reality in 2005, and we're still like living the success of that project. So I think it's a combination of many things. The most important thing in my mind is the customer experience.
I think one of the things we're forgetting is the customer also has needs which vary. So we talk about Majid Al-Futtaim and we keep talking about Mall of the Emirates, but they know very well that just maybe 10 kilometers from it, they've built a mall which is very basic called Mayasim City Center, and it's got all the needs of the community and maybe just this much more. And in Sharjah, they've built a joint venture, in fact, a separate company of malls called Matajir. And again, they're very, very community-based, very basic. So sometimes it's not about the 9 to 18-year-old and what their new thoughts and their nuances are, but who is fulfilling the needs. So you've still got to do grocery. That's not gone anywhere. And 40% of your spending of your disposable income might be at grocery and your needs. So they still need to be fulfilled. I mean, shopping like IKEA would still be done. So you cannot forget all about that just because you're trying to evolve and becoming more experiential. So they will always, these two things will exist together. So keep in mind that whenever we go to a new market, we talk about what's the niche, what's missing. Maybe the fundamental mall is missing. Maybe the lifestyle mall is missing. Maybe the F&B part is missing. So you've got to look at what's missing and then fulfill that. Not just keep talking about whatever Dubai got and nobody else has got and go and do it over there, because that might be like alien to them.
Also, it's not just about, I don't think there is the mall of the future. I think it's about a context, and every context is different. If you, and let me try and illustrate this by two examples, both of which I'm involved in right now. One is I work with a retail client who's across the Middle East. They come from Portugal, but they've been very, very successful in this part of the world. They're in Fuad's malls, they're in Dubai Mall, they're called Sukoor Brothers, they're a fashion store. Just that they do things differently. They have it's actually all quite simple if you think of it like that, but people don't do it. They have somebody playing a piano in all of their flagship stores every day. People love it. Where they don't have place for a piano, they have a guy playing a saxophone. People love it. There's simple service like when you buy something, people will take the bag and walk you to the door of the store. People love it. These days in Mall of the Emirates, they have a guy with a top hat and a tailcoat standing outside. People love it. So, they offer Evian water and espresso inside the store. People love it. I don't think these are, if you think about it, they're not such big things, but they differentiate themselves from everybody else who also sell shirts and suits and ties and things. And everybody you talk to about Sukoor, they talk to you about service, because that's what remains in people's minds. That's on one. But the other thing about context, we're, the people I work with, we're looking at doing an outlet mall in Kuwait. And, an outlet mall is a different animal. But if we're doing an outlet mall in the Gulf and in Kuwait, then it's got to have all the bells and whistles for a Kuwaiti customer, for a GCC customer. It's got to have great F&B, it's going to have great entertainment. The best performing outlet mall, at least I think is the best, is Woodbury Commons. It's got interlock on the floor, it looks terrible. Because that's the context in the United States. People go out of Manhattan and go to Woodbury Commons and shop. They don't care about how it looks. But in Kuwait, if I have an outlet mall, I'm going to have a 12-screen cinema, I'm going to have entertainment, I'm going to have 30 restaurants out there, because that's the expectation. You go to Bicester Village outside of London, which is another extremely successful outlet mall, it's got like 2.5 F&B places, because that's the expectation there. Here, we can't get away with that. So for us, the future is, in our context, what is it that we really need?
But I don't think so. And sometimes the other than fashion and brands inside the mall is get more space than enough. That the mall is becoming like a theme park. You have different entertainment area and food and blah blah blah. But then the portion or the percentage of the fashion, the brand, it get less. So
as long as there's enough of that, and as long as people come in the shop, I don't complain.
We've seen this as a trend, actually. Early days when typically malls would give about 7 to 10% of the GLA for leisure. Off late, we're beginning to see that number go in certain malls as high as 55, 60% towards leisure in terms of that's food, cinemas.
It doesn't become feasible in some.
No, but you're ticketing that leisure now, which you weren't at one point in time. Now you go to Ski Dubai, you're paying for it. You go to the aquarium, you're paying for it. So there is revenue coming from that space as well. It's not dead space. It's not non-revenue generating. It's not a public service. You can make money from that entertainment, from that engagement.
That's the whole concept. That's the whole concept of our industry, is bringing customers in, ticketing them, keeping them longer, and getting a greater income off of them as they spend time in our facilities. So it's no different than the concept that you're talking about, whether it's they spend money in a brand shop, or they spend it into a family entertainment facility, or in Ski Dubai, which I also love, visited in March. It's creating an atmosphere and an experience for people so they stay longer and they experience your brand stores, but they also have a place that they go to. And I think that our industry is very, very good at that. We're geniuses at creating an experience that translates into revenue. Otherwise, you wouldn't see what is happening here today. All these attractions coming out of this region. Because they understand that concept. And I think if we can extrapolate some of the best practices from our industry and move it into what we call the shopping experience, I think you'll see a huge increase in the way that people react to it and the outcome as far as turnover, because that's what we're all in the business for, right? We're not here as nonprofits, we're here as to generate revenue. I think you'll see a huge increase. And we see that. We see that leisure entertainment is the #1 thing people are looking for. And we talk about the millennials. They want an experience. But what we see as a trend in our industry is we don't focus on one age group. We focus on the family. And when you focus on the family and you provide something for everyone, you're hugely successful. If you take attractions that focus on a certain age group, they're struggling. They're struggling to meet the needs. They're struggling to entertain the parents that are bringing the small children. Specifically in Europe, the biggest challenge is the teenage group. When you focus your attraction on that, you have a lot of problems there. They have money and they come, they don't spend enough, and they also have behavioral issues because of their age. So when you and then families don't come. So when you focus on the family and you try and introduce something that everyone can experience, you'll find greater success and greater number of people visiting your facility, whether it's a shopping mall or an amusement park. Or if, for example, I'm very excited to see how IMG will develop and open up, because that's a combination of attraction and F&B experience. And I think that's a new movement for us. So yes, absolutely.
And I think Mr. Shawak and Furqan, both of them, they raise very appropriate points in the sense that you have to be in sync with your demographic and in sync with who you're catering to. So any form of leisure that you're going to bring in, unless it's married to the demographic, sized right to the demographic, I mean, it is odd. And many times, even when I go to Saudi Arabia, the over-reliance on leisure is also so much. Sometimes I see entertainment facilities that are probably 18, 20,000 square meters. The mall could have survived with half of that, honestly. And from an entertainment operator's perspective, you'd have probably saved half the operating costs and the rent and everything else. Sometimes they oversize it and the place never looks full. Now, that's a part of the offering too, from our perspective. Making the place feel busy, look busy, engaging them at that end is also so very important to the success of the facility. Sometimes the entertainment elements that they bring in are so repetitive. It's the same thing that's available in 10 other malls. Now, what is it that you're doing to your consumer to say, here's a different offering and how do you come in? And again, we're using quite a bit of Skate Dubai. I'm a byproduct of Majid Al Futtaim Group too from a long time ago. I know the time when it was called Project Y to then becoming Skate Dubai. And just the addition of penguins to the entire Ski Dubai experience brought so many customers back to them, So that was a variant that they came back to an existing snow park and a ski experience that they had. So the more, when we look at leisure and entertainment offering that you specifically address, that, they're so big, but then sometimes they're not always well thought of. I mean, the flavor, you also raised about active leisure these days, yeah? So the flavor of the year seems to be trampoline parks. Everybody wants to get into trampoline parks at this point in time. They've been very successful. We've seen this happen in the West, and they've gone through that curve of, dealing with the accidents, dealing with injuries, dealing with sort of legal cases against them also, and then understanding how to deal with the entire thing and evolve from there. But there were some of the things that were more basic, like, appealing across generations. So the Monopoly, that, a board game that was brought to life in the middle of, Mall of the Emirates Galleria, where they actually had people, everybody come in. Entertainment need not always be paid for. Sometimes it can be for free, just wherein you bring in people and you sort of use them. And that was such a big hit. And there was another mall that I saw, they had the old Pac-Man maze. And they'd have people dressed up as ghosts and Pac-Man chasing customers through the maze. If they managed to get out of the maze, they would get a gift. So these sort of things.
Man, you know some really strange people.
So,
Louis, you guys understood this.
Sorry, just to add a quick point related to that, I think is also, and it's to the question of how do you make your malls better and mall of the future, etc. I think what we don't notice is that the good malls and the good developers, you have to also move quickly and cut your losses and move on if something's not working. I mean, even with Majid Al Fatem, there are many times things haven't worked. Middle City Center, you look at the entertainment, things change, you move on, you say this has not worked. Otherwise, no, you're sticking with this, 10,000 square meters for 5 years and you're, nobody's benefiting from it. You need to move, you need to get out of it, you need to get on to the next thing.
I mean,
and people have to learn to be nimble. A restaurant isn't working, get out of it, get the next guy in. I mean, Dubai Mall, say, very successful. How many places have changed? They haven't worked, they just moved on. And that's the way to do it.
Well, Louis, you've known this for a while, what these guys are now talking about. Oh, if we get them in, maybe we can sell them something as well, and they'll buy souvenirs, and they'll buy merchandise from the aquarium and from Ski Dubai, and they'll buy food for the penguins. You've been doing this, and you're sitting here going, what took these guys so long, right?
Sorry. If we are talking about the future mall, I would like really to highlight one point that it should be really taken into consideration, which is about the shop mix. The shop mix is really important in the mall, but it's happening that in the most of the place or most of the mall, they are giving locations for the same brand, or sorry, not the same brand, actually, same concept, like Italian food. If you open 3 restaurants of Italian restaurant close to each other, definitely these restaurants will be cannibalizing each other. So the other concepts, the weak one or the fresh one in the market, they will not really be able to survive for long. So these concepts, for sure, at the end, they will close. And I'm sure that the consumers, they will have a negative impact about the mall itself. That's why this shop is not really doing well, why this shop is doing well. So this is one of the main challenges that we are facing recently. And we know very well that Dubai is getting really, the competition is really becoming more tough. So every brand in the world wants to be in the city here. That's why the rents are really increasing so high. Talents are asking for sure increases in their salaries. So this is one of the main challenges. So I believe that the landlord with the operators, they should be working together into taking into consideration all these points in the future. So this is what I would like to do.
We're going to be running out of time fairly soon, and we have curious looks in the audience. So I'm going to throw this open to the floor as well. If anyone has any questions or comments for the panel, this would be a good time to raise them. Do we have any microphones? Yeah. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I know we're coming to the end of the afternoon and most people are eagerly waiting for that moment to end. I have one question. It's just a general question as far as leasing opportunities in malls. I know we're speaking about going beyond just retail, but my question is more focused on the opportunity for smaller players to take prime real estate or take prime locations in malls. We see more and more today that the larger conglomerates, the larger retail groups are able to leverage prime real estate space, not necessarily because they have the best fit for that space, but because they go in their guns blazing and say, this is my basket of brands and, I want this space, and essentially, or else. What are your thoughts on that?
Fuad, do you want to take that? Because you look like you were about to fall asleep right now.
No, I'm not actually. No, I have a microphone. I'm fine. Like giving opportunities, definitely. Like there are 2 types of retailers. There are retailers who did prove themselves worldwide, and they want to enter your shopping malls. And there are like the new retailers who are like trying. So for us, like in our case, we do give opportunities to the other retailers, by the way. We have like stores and we have kiosks in some cases. Like we give opportunities for people to try their products And there are some experts when we talk about kiosks here. So we do give them opportunities. If they prove themselves and they make good sales, definitely we'll give them a store. But we do have some cases, like we have around 1 million square meter GLA across the region. It does not mean that we just have international brands. Definitely we have some local brands in our shopping malls, and they are there. Like, even though in Dubai we have lots of local brands, they do exist. So for us, it's about like selecting the right brands, looking into it. So both cases, they do exist in Majid Al Futtaim properties.
Actually,
the young
if
lady
you
with
allow
mic.
me to highlight on this also, there is advantage to lease small retailers. First of all, small retailers, when they have a good brand, actually, they take care of those brands. Sometimes the big groups, they don't take care of each brand equally as the small groups. Second, and sometimes financially, they pay more rent to penetrate those prime location. So it's not always the case that we just move with the big groups just because they are selling the basket, and it also depends on the power of the developer or the property management company. And sometimes we have upper hand to choose and negotiate, but sometimes for less small qualities, that the big retailers have the upper hand to push for all their brands.
I think we're forgetting the fact that there is a category that you've got to cover. So if the mall needs a Mongolian barbecue, he'll get the space. I mean, if you're opening the 6th or 7th pizza chain, the mall doesn't have any space. It doesn't matter if you're good, bad, or ugly. They just don't have that space. So obviously the mall has got to make sure that the balance is right as well. And the mall is not there to be the guinea pig if the mall is successful. They're there to prove themselves even more successful. So if you've got a new brand, go try it out somewhere else. And if successful, the mall will ask you to come in. So just like the mall has proven itself, so do you. So I'm a retailer myself. I mean, there's a balance that you've got to strike as well.
Young lady with the microphone in the front row.
Okay, so 2 questions, a bit greedy. The first one is quite basic, and what advice would you give to a new mall, to a mall that's about to begin, and what do you think is the biggest challenge? And then second of all, I've been doing some research, and apparently 60% of luxury goods spent in Dubai is driven by tourists, and the Dubai Mall welcomed. And my question is, how do you target residents rather than tourists? Because say, for example, for Dubai Mall, and it's an interesting suggestion that my friend said the other day, if you look around, how many people actually have bags? How many people have actually bought something rather than going to look at the fountains or, gone for the experience? So those are my 2 questions.
Let me comment on your first question there about how to make your mall successful, basically from the beginning. Try to connect your mall to your community, and this should be really the name of the game. I'm assuming that you're not developing a super regional mall, so that's why. That's the first one. The second one, of course, like in a country like in Dubai, tourists or tourism do represent a very high impact or percentage of the turnover, but let's take a country like Egypt, for example, where really tourism is not the major factor there. It's again trying to relate to the community and the catchment areas and the zones where you are, and try to get the best stores as much as you can that connects with your customers.
I think Amitabh's point at the very first, when we started, was quite right. Let's not look at the entire GCC or the MENA region in the context of Mall of the Emirates and Dubai Mall. Let's look at what else we have around there. And is that same thing true, where 60% of the foot traffic is just walking through and walking back out? If that is happening in a community mall, yes, you've got a problem, because then they're going to the theater, they're going to the food court, but they're not actually shopping over there. But otherwise, if you have got stores that attract your community, attract the neighborhood, then yes, you can't compete with the fountains, you can't compete with Ski Dubai, you can't compete with the aquarium, and you will get that large tourist population coming in just to have a look at that, or to look up at the Burj Al Khalifa. But if they had that same problem at their city center, then they'd have to worry about it. We have a question there, please.
Hi, I'm Mishal Harthi. Actually, I'm talking from Maghrabi Retail. I'm talking as a Saudi citizen consumer, and I'm also a retailer at the same time. So 2 points I want to comment actually regarding the malls.
Okay, I'm sorry, you're going to have to speak a little louder because I can't hear you and I'm old and deaf.
First, for the malls, there was a very healthy discussion, but there is something that nobody discuss about it, which is the location and the accessibility and the comfort zone for the consumer. For example, if I came to the mall and I didn't find enough parking space, or I park here and then I find a difficulty to find my park later on when I'm going out, or these kind of things. And even when you access the mall, how is the plan? How you distribute your retailers among the mall? These kind of things, it's very important for the consumer, especially I think for GCC. And I'm talking as a Saudi citizen, especially in Saudi now, the malls is more now a destination for entertainment. Even I give you an example. For example, for my wife, she usually buy also online, and then when she goes to the mall, she enter the stores and buy more. So I asked her, so you already buy online, so why you are buying here? She said, we are in the mall, so this is what we do. Actually, we come to entertain and to shop. So it's shopping experience is part of the entertainment, actually. So there is no problem, or there's no actually contradiction between buying online or buying from malls, as long as the mall is really providing the right shopping experience and the lifestyle that attract the consumer to come and entertain and enjoy during the journey.
You've made a lot of men and women at this table very happy by saying that. So on that note, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each of you to respond not only to that, but to everything that we've been talking about. Last thoughts, mall of the future, your business, what's going to be happening when we're all back here in 2020. I, of course, will be old and gray by then, but for the rest of you, Mohammed, let's start with you. Let's do one final thought process before you wrap up.
For me, my dream about the mall of the future is to be able to change the tenants whenever you have a problem with them. It's like click like this, as if you're changing the screen on a TV. But really, mall of the future, very interactive, very related to the community where it is, and dynamic, and very technological. Robots, very experienced salespeople, very interesting and exciting window displays, changing every day, entertainment like no ever, Alice in Wonderland.
For us in Saudi is all about building really quality malls. We are suffering from the quality malls in Dubai, and the people in 45 minutes or 1 hour can drive and can fly and enjoy all the experience here. And we have 120,000 students in the scholarship outside in all countries. They're coming back. So it's all about providing quality malls.
For our segment, actually, we need to keep reinventing. We need to maintain, actually, also our consistency. On the same time, we need to work well on the customer service. This is what we can really support our segment.
Well, since I come from the attractions and experience industry, I would say an immersive experience inside what I would not call a mall, but a community center, a center where you can do everything, but experience, immersive, engaging through attractions, through shopping, through restaurant experience, all of it together.
Karen took some of my words. So. To me, it's about knowing your customer and constantly evolving, engaging, and entertaining them. And it's very important that you cater to a demographic. And also, whenever you look at anything that's coming into your mall of the future, it may have worked in some other part of the world. do ask yourself the question, will it work in your demographic, and then bring it in. Thank you.
And here I was hoping either Karen or you would do a song and dance just to illustrate this.
Yes, I think not very different from what Prakash said. Make it contextual, but also change and evolve. And I think, we used to build malls and say, after 10 years, we will do this. That's gone now. You've got to move very quickly, whether it's your mix and however you do it, whether it's your mix or, you've got to also change the way you market completely. You've got to know your customer as an individual rather than a mass of people. I think those days are gone when she says, oh, between 25 and 37 years old and does this. That's all gone. You got to market to them individually, and if you can reach across to them, and you're constantly tailoring the product to that in 100 different ways, whether it's marketing or it's the mix or it's your F&B or it's your entertainment, then I think you'll continue to remain relevant.
First time I'll contradict with everybody. I'm scared actually of all that has been said up till now around the table, because I am very scared of the developer coming to me and forgetting the fundamentals and starting with all of these nuances that are being discussed. Because if he forgets the fact that he has to have the right location, and he has to have the right position of the mall, and he has to have the right bricks and mortar shape, and he has to have the right circulation, if he forgets all the fundamentals, then everything else will be meaningless. So taking them back to the basics and saying, look, the organs of the body don't change, the way the mall should be structured should not change, and your problem that will come to you later on will not change, because that's the way human beings are functioning. Everything else will be an add-on that should be flexible enough to be able to be moved. So for example, if there's an entertainment space, build it flexible, right? Multi-purpose. So that will be good, but that does not mean that you change the way the mall circulation should work, what services should go in the mall and things like that. So I really think that every time somebody comes to my door, I keep talking about the basic fundamentals, and mall of the future or not, you've got to be able to survive and not forget about where you are today.
For us, actually, I would like to make sure that the guy who asked the question visits our malls on a regular basis with his wife. That's very important for us. You're most welcome. Hayak Allah. That's number one. And he mentioned something very important, actually, which is the parking issue. And for us, like just being retailers or being like shopping mall operator, that's a problem we love to have, actually. The packed parking. It gives you an indication of a success, definitely, but definitely you should have a plan to manage it in a proper way. For me, like if we're talking from now up to 5 years, the plan for Majid Al Futtaim to double their size. So we're talking about double the existing GLA. So this gives you an indication about the future mall, how the future mall will look. The future mall will evolve always. So definitely we'll come up with creative ideas. In Bahrain, we came with a water park, and Mall of the Emirates, the Ski Dubai. So there are creative ideas which will always evolve, and definitely will target to get the best retailers in the world, and will always be the platform for these retailers to enter the MENA region. Thanks.
Perfect. And Amitabh, can I get you to wrap up the afternoon, please?
Yes. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next year. I would like to really thank all our speakers, all our supporters, sponsors, especially Lulu Group, which has been supporting us for the last 5 years, Zebra, 5 years now. I think most of our partners have been supporting from day one. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next year. Hope to have a great MRF 2016. Thank you. Please don't, would like to thank my team in Dubai, who has been very supportive, and this wouldn't have happened without their support. Whoever has missed the evening Retail Emmy Awards, you must watch the video. It'll be online. It was a great evening, and I think everybody enjoyed. If you have missed the launch of the book, which we released yesterday's, which is about 30 people from the retail industry, their views and thoughts. It's a coffee table book which was released yesterday. Please do get a hold of that book, and we'll see you next year. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.